Good morning, everyone. In this video, I'm going to be talking about some changes that are happening across the world around EVs. And I'm also going to give you some numbers, and you might find them startling. The first number I'm going to give you is 500. In 2019, there were 500 EV manufacturers in China. They're in a hyper-competitive environment. They started offering up cheap electric cars and competing against each other on price, and also making innovative vehicles. From 500 companies in 2019 to 200 companies in 2024. But let me tell you what happened during that time. If you go back to 2019, there's only about 2 million electric cars sold a year globally, among, sales like 85 million cars, new cars, just new cars. Used cars is a different market. Well, last year in 2024, out of 90 million cars sold, 17 million were plug-in electric vehicles. I mean, that's a startling number to go from 2 million to 17 million in a few short years. So there were 500 car companies competing for business in China, and it was so bad that there was a global rubber shortage because the Chinese people who were riding bicycles and scooters, the 1.2 billion Chinese, went from bicycles and scooters with 2 small tires to cheap electric cars with 4 automotive tires. So there was literally a global rubber shortage because of the growth of the auto industry in China. Here's the crazy thing about it. You don't see Chinese electric cars here in the United States. They're blocked, we have tariffs, we have all kinds of things going on, safety rules and regulations. You just don't see Chinese cars on the roads, at least not here in Florida. Mexico in 2020 had a tariff against Chinese imported autos. So about 4% of cars sold in Mexico in 2020 were Chinese. Well, they lifted that tariff, they made it 0. And last year, 2024, 33% of the vehicles sold in Mexico were Chinese manufactured vehicles. Mostly electric, mostly small electric vehicles that are cheap, easy to maintain. You don't have a lot of maintenance. And the thing about EVs is they're also less complicated to make than an internal combustion engine. To have a reliable internal combustion engine, you have to have manufacturing standards. To have an electric car, you can buy an electric motor from another manufacturer. You can buy a battery from another manufacturer and just put it in a framework. Of course, you need coolant systems and everything else. But EVs, in a lot of ways, are simpler to manufacture than gas-powered vehicles. So you have this global shift. And what's going to happen is the Chinese EV manufacturers are going off after the markets that are growing, like Brazil, Africa. Even there's a lot of Chinese EVs being sold in the European Union. So they're not worried about the United States because we're only 4% of the world's population. We're a huge global car market, but as long as they keep selling cars in 96% of the world is not the United States, right? So as the world changes and shifts, China is going to continue to sell EVs at a rapid pace, and they're going to continue to innovate ahead of the legacy car manufacturers that are trying to compete against an innovative, low-cost competitor. So those are some crazy numbers. I do believe that the automotive business is going to be totally different by 2030 than as it is today in 2025. And it's worth following and delving into that EV market in China. It's fascinating, it's scary, but it's happening.